My family, well, I have three children. I have a wife who is very supportive, and they sometimes even get involved in my political work. In some of the campaigns, they will join in, and also in the party events. Basically, my philosophy in life is that for my children, I want them to discover themselves. Of course, I have aspirations for them, but I really want it to come from themselves. So I'm perfectly happy that they all went to neighborhood schools where we lived in, and they, I'm proud of what they have grown to be, because it's not so much about the results that they get in life, but very much I want them to be confident about themselves in whatever they are doing. But the spark to surf was actually ignited when I was a student in St. Patrick's School in the St. John's Ambulance, and later in college when I actually took part in 5 CCAs. And even when I was in the National Service, I actually became a volunteer officer in St. John's Ambulance, where that's where I spend my weekends in. I guess the spark to surf comes from the kind of calling that I had in college, when the motto was "For College, for Nation." So I always believe in giving back to the community as much as I can. And when I got to working life, I also continued to serve, first as the president of my college alumni, and also because of my professional experience, I was invited into a few government committees where I was member in policy work groups. I also served in various voluntary organizations. So yeah, it's pretty much part of my belief in my culture that I think that I should give back to the community, and it is something that I truly enjoy. So I was actually very pleasantly surprised. You mentioned about the award by my college. It was given to me 2 years after I've actually joined opposition as a politician, and I've actually stopped expecting any awards from any government organizations. So that really came to me as a very, very pleasant surprise. Well, I think all these experiences has been very useful. It has helped me see things from many, many different perspectives, from the eyes of educators whom I work with, from students in the organizations that I've served in, and also when I got involved in the party's work, I also have to help in the community areas, in meet people sessions. That's where I get to see things from the perspective of people of different age groups, the aspirations of those who are young, the struggles of those in the middle age, and also some of the issues that the elderly will face. So I think that has made me into a more complete person. I believe that in all my serving in all these policy groups and the community, I actually wanted very much to help to build a better Singapore. And over time, I came to this belief that I should be a participant in the whole political process to provide the political competition that is needed. So I joined the Workers' Party in 2011, became an NCMP thanks to the support of the voters of Joo Chiat. And now in 2015, I'm back again in this coming elections. And I was pleasantly surprised that none of them told me that I should step down. In fact, they encouraged me and even wished me all the best. So I continued, and some of these organizations I continued serving even to today. I always believe that we are here for the good of Singapore. So as whatever is within my means to do it, I will do it. So of course there'll be times that we may share different philosophy, and I always believe in putting out my arguments in a very clear and rational manner, and it's really up to the government to accept that. But where we have a common alignment of many of these views, I'll be happy to go along and support those views as well. Well, I live in Joo Chiat SMC itself, so since 2011 was over, I've actually made many visits to different parts of the SMC. In fact, I would say to all parts that is publicly accessible, to meet up with residents and so on. More so to catch up with them, but sometimes they raise up issues to me, and those that I feel that's within my means to help them, I do. So some examples will be writing to the authorities, maybe with some problems with the drains, with the parks and so on. And some of this I actually write in my capacity as a local resident here myself, because if there's a problem with a drain that is near my house, then it will affect me too if there's the dengue, mosquitoes and so on over there. And I would say that to be fair to the authorities, they've been very responsive in responding to these letters from me. And I will also say that since the elections, I've been making almost weekly visits now to the residents and also some to the areas around the SMCs, and it's been a very enjoyable experience. Yeah, I really I've grown quite fond of meeting all these people. That was the same thing as there was said in Aljunied. There were already two ministers on the team and one who's definitely going to minister, plus a senior minister of state there. So that is even stronger team, I would say, because if you are mentioning about the team here, one of course has been a prime minister, but that was like 11 years ago at least. He has served the country well. The other one is of course a young minister in his first term. But I always believe that this is what political competition is about. As much as we are talking about PAP needing to have their fourth generation and so on, I think people also need to understand that opposition politics has to develop. And that was the very reason why I'm in politics myself. In 2011, before I joined politics, I asked myself, what would Singapore be like? Our founding Prime Minister, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, then was already getting on in age and health was already not very good. Then I asked myself, how long more? How long can we always depend on the founding generations and all the previous leaders to keep Singapore going? It is time that there should be some alternative, right? In case one day the PAP, the ruling party, may not be able to perform as well as they do, or they do not, maybe for some reasons they become corrupt or so on, then what choice do Singapore have? You need to have a credible alternative as well. And when I looked around, I think that alternative needs to be built. So as much as it is about the building of the government for the next generation, I believe this election is also very much about what do we want opposition to be? Do we want opposition to go back to the 1970s where there's nobody capable of being elected in the opposition? Or do we want something that is seriously able to challenge the government? Maybe not immediately to form the government, but something at least growing, developing, and able to do that. I would say the same thing too. What if my team was wiped out? What if Aljunied team was wiped out or the East Coast team was wiped out? Then what's the future of politics in Singapore? Will we go back to the 1970s or the 1980s and then all the capable people do not want to be on the other side because they just feel that it's not worth doing it? So I think Singaporeans also need to think about this issue.